we'll discuss their innovative solutions for building a sustainable future. And to help us do that, we have four amazing guests with us here today. Please welcome Chase Wilson with Construction Career Collaborative, C3. John Wendt with Pep Talks, which is practitioners educating patients. We've got Derek Woods with Boss Productions, and Kyle Fu, with, an origami artist. Let's give them a round of applause. I'd like to start with you, Chase. Can you tell us about your role at C3 and your organization's mission?
Chase Wilson. I am the Chief of Staff at Construction Career Collaborative. There we go, that's better. Chase Wilson, Chief of Staff at Construction Career Collaborative. We also go by C3. Our mission statement is actually 31 words, but to make it simple, our goal is to make the construction industry sexy. So we're hoping to bring more workers into the commercial construction space.
Go with John.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Wendt. I work with Origin Health and Wellness and also Pep Talks, which is practitioners educating patients. And our main goal is to, I think we're in about 37 countries. We try to outreach to all kinds of people to help innovate like self-health care, mind-body techniques. So that's what we're here to do. Go Red.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us. My name is Derek Woods, and I represent two companies today. One is Boss Productions, which is my global entertainment company. But secondly, I represent my BP Foundation, which is the Better Planet Foundation. So we'll look to talk about how we incorporate change and sustainability in both of those areas.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Kyle Fu from Taiwan originally. I've been residing in Houston, Texas for 20 years. I'm an origami master artist and also a filmmaker, producer. And my job is usually helping young upcoming artists how to become a career, how to surviving, how to do all the, how to make their art being seen. Yes.
Thank you, guys. So now now that we've found out a little bit about yourselves, let's find out about a little bit more about your organization's initiatives and how they contribute to building a more sustainable and equitable future.
All right, so C3 is a nonprofit organization here in Houston. As I stated earlier, our goal is to bring more workers into the commercial construction workspace. One of the things that makes us unique and innovative is that we don't just work with contractors, we actually work with the owners as well. So when these projects are starting to be built, we work with companies like, or organizations like the University of Houston, Texas Medical Center, Texas Children's Hospital, MD Anderson. So when they decide to make a new building or anything that's going to impact the skyline of Houston, they can designate their project as a C3 project. And what that essentially means is that every person who works on their project is meeting 4 criteria. They have OSHA 10 or OSHA 30 training, so they're going to be safe, doing safe work. The company itself has to pay W-2 wages, so they're not contractors, meaning that you're not going to have to worry about people not showing up tomorrow or I need to go get more guys. They have to have training in the craft work that they do, which means that they're doing their work consistently the same. If they don't have a training program, then we assist them with building a training program so they know there's a career path to development. And then lastly, they have to provide workers' compensation insurance. So if there is something that occurs on the job site, then those individuals and their families will be taken care of. So what makes us innovative is that we know that these spaces are being built not only on time, but they're being done safely. And our biggest part of our message that we're trying to share with the community is that commercial construction is a space where you can actually have a long and sustained career. And so we're looking to fill about 400,000 jobs that are available just here in the Houston industry alone between now and 2030. And that does not count the fact that Houston has now been declared a hydrogen hub, which is going to bring about another 300,000 jobs into Houston going forward. So that's the biggest part of what we do. And what separates us is that we have that buy-in from the owners.
Cool. As a practitioner, one of the things we deal with is stress on a daily basis. And with Pep Talks, what we do is we go out and we kind of support people in understanding Chinese medicine and the impact of stress on your physical body. So all the physical ailments that people deal with on a regular basis are typically tied to some mental emotional stress. The technique we use is called neuro-emotional technique, and we have functional MRIs which show changes to brain function. Now, as practitioners, we also implement innovative technologies with PEMF, ozone, hyperbaric, as well as a number of other light therapies and things like that to enhance cellular function, and that improves health globally for everyone. So our main purpose is to reach out and just educate patients on how your body actually works, how stress is impacting those things, and with the research that we show on the functional MRIs, the improvement to cognitive function, but also stress reduction. So our cancer study was done on 25 patients, and we saw about 85% clinical significant change in the functional MRI. So basically the area of the brain that you have pain, inflammation, stress responses to, we saw a complete negation of that stress response associated with the diagnosis of cancer. So powerful technique, neuroemotional technique, is used by medical providers, acupuncturists, chiropractors, basically anybody who has the ability to diagnose. So if you have any colleagues or friends in the area, or if you have a practitioner that you know who could benefit from helping people, then let them know about Pep Talks, because it's a great way for us to get change globally with healthcare. Because if anything, I don't know if I want to talk about that, but the last couple of years, certain healthcare things have been a little taxing for people to buy into or believe. And so we want to reduce that stress on people so that we can make healthy choices going forward.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Through my company, Boss Productions, we produce events in a lot of destinations around the globe. And being that many of them aren't necessarily third world, but they aren't exactly U.S. And so we see a lot of need when we're executing our events and activities. And so we thought it was paramount that we not only pull resources when we're executing our events, but that we also put back into those communities that we're having these events at. And so one part of that is our BP Foundation, which allows us to partner with local organizations or indigenous cultural events or activities to put resources back, meaning that not only do we support them fiscally or lend fiscal account to what they might already have, but we establish new means of support and providing ongoing resources. One such project is our project Blacktop. Being connected to many NFL and NBA organizations, we started to resurface or repair or even build new basketball courts and football fields in many of these destinations. Baseball fields. Curacao is one of the island destinations that we do a lot of work in. So we help restore and actually build new baseball stadiums. Puerto Rico, we put in a lot of basketball. Throughout Mexico, we put in a lot of basketball courts. And so we do this because we see it as a just cause. And we, from the Boss Production mantra, is that we provide social intersections. And that allows us to put people of all origin together so that we can express interests and ideals and like things. And so we continue to do this. And so that provides ongoing sustainability when you put people together and they can see a cause moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what I did is I live in New York, and in the 80s, I realized lots of artists didn't have any way to surviving as artists because their business is very limited, very fixed. So I started to creating space for artists can show their work without jury, without people tell what is art. So I live in Baltimore and Houston the past 20 years with housing over 1,000 artists. Not only housing show their work, also show them how to make money. Like we work with mayor's office, we work with Beyonce's father, Matthew knows, we had an international fashion show in House Darian, and creating this space opportunity for art to have a chance to show their work to the public. Usually they couldn't have any chance. Lots of the art foundation galleries are very limited to the artists, to the creativity. So my job is let this artist know how to it. Also, there's lots of grant money, lots of foundation, how they're going to apply. I got it from Houston Art Alliance and Southwest District. They're giving millions of dollars every year to artists, and a lot of artists do not go claim it. And they need to go find out and show them how to do that. Yeah, so it's very important. Like I'm the resource center and tell people how to find a way to show your work. From level 1 artist to level 10. That's mean level 1 is a hobby, level 10 become international museum collector artist. And it doesn't take a whole life, and artists do not have to die to be famous. Hey, my work in the American Museum, so people, if I can do it as an immigrant from another country, I think anybody can do it. It's just a matter of getting resources and network and stuff like that.
Great.
Thank you so much, guys. Now let's talk a little bit about a subject I know, change management. And so I know with a lot of the nonprofits and the work that you guys are doing, you probably experience a lot of barriers, to implementing your innovative solutions. How do you overcome these? Like, could you maybe give us, an example of how, you've been able to kind of push past, some of the resistance you guys have faced, with your organizations?
Well, I have the mic now, so I'll go first. With the Better Planet Foundation, or the BP Foundation, you're absolutely right. Being able to find sustainable funding sources, it's always a challenge. So one of the things that we've been able to do is leverage not only from my entertainment company to leverage that influence over athletes and celebrities to come out and be a face and support some of our initiatives. It's grassroots, because as he mentioned, we do have many resources that are available from the government side, but some people just don't have the wherewithal to find it or follow through and execute, because some of them can be challenging or intimidating when you look at and see what the criteria might list. So we've been able to do what we found successful is grassroots, and being able to come out in front of other people and make them aware of who we are and where we are. That's really the first step and the most important method in being able to do that. So we thank you guys again for allowing us to come out and speak on our specific foundations.
Absolutely.
As far as barriers go, I think money is always like a big barrier for people. And so to remove that money barrier, we generally have about 10,000 practitioners worldwide that contribute to Pep Talks. And we have about 300 people that actually speak on behalf of the Pep Talk organization. And so our biggest block is typically like the construct in which people look at health. We think, okay, we need to go to a hospital if we're sick or something's happening, right? So we have this very specific way we look at how we take care of ourselves. I think we all know eat your vegetables, right? Drink plenty of water for the most part, right? But what are the other things? How are they contributing to our body? How are breaking down our cellular function? How is it breaking down our organ function? How is it leading to things like cancers? So instead of, you go to the grocery store and you donate $5 for cancer research, I strongly, advise to maybe look at that money going somewhere else, because the most of that research money goes to a very high-tech advancement where there's a patent on something. And I don't know if you realize this, but there's nothing in your body that's technically patented. So natural things cannot be patented. And so I would just highly recommend that you kind of funnel money towards sustainable living, which starts with you and your life. How do you, buy food? How do you, harvest things like that? So that's generally what we're working at doing, is trying to get patients in small communities together to build up a sustainable life. And then how do we do that? Through collaboration with stress management, as well as physical health. So that's kind of our goal. The barriers for us are really just money. So funnel money to where you want it to go. Have you ever heard of things like boycott? So you can actually boycott how you spend money. So you can actually look at different organizations and who owns them as a parent organization. So that's a big passion for me. And I think that we can all support by how we spend or where we spend our money.
Absolutely. I think it's really a twofold story for what we do. As far as barriers for our organization, of course, we all need funding, and we look for partnerships that we can continue to sustain what we do. So things like this definitely help us out, being able to get the word out. One of the things that we want to do is tell our story, because one of the biggest barriers from an organizational standpoint is that people tend to see us as an association. We actually are a charitable organization. We are a nonprofit. And so doing things like this help us get that word out so that people understand we are actually helping here in Houston. We're getting people to jobs, but more importantly, in regards to our mission, the barriers that we're looking to break down are barriers to entry into the workforce. A lot of people look at construction and they think of it the way that they heard it from their grandfathers, right? I woke up at 4 in the morning and I was on the roof till 9 at night, right? There's so much more going on in construction today with project management, AI, virtual reality, all these opportunities. And so what we do is we look for people from all aspects of life. You may be working in a career right now where you've been tired of it. You're like, I wish I could do something else. There are good paying jobs in commercial construction that you probably have transferable skills for. But one of the things I'm most passionate about is that our mission, as I stated, was to make the construction industry sexy. Bringing more people into construction, most people hear construction and they think that's a guy thing, that's a men thing, right? We have our major marquee event is called She Builds Houston. We do it every year with the school districts. We've worked with A-Leaf ISD, Spring Branch, Katy. This year we did it with Aldine. She Builds, we bring in 1,500 young ladies from 7th to 12th grade. Girls only, no boys allowed. So there's nobody pushing them out of the way and saying, I know how to use that drill. They get to get on heavy equipment, learn to use power tools, learn how to hang drywall. And so we're basically changing their mindset in regards to how they look at construction. There's space for you and room for you. And by the way, women are the majority of our population. So how are we actually pushing our mission forward if we're not looking to bring young ladies into the field? And so She Builds Houston is a dedicated day where we're just exposing them, because we know one of the fastest way to fill these jobs is to make sure that we're reaching everybody. If you've maybe you made a bad choice in life, right? And you need a second chance. We can cater to that community. You're looking for a second career. Maybe you know you don't want to go to college and you're fresh out of high school. One of the stories I tell all the time is construction is one of the fastest ways to ownership of any particular profession you could think of. You can get out of high school at 18, and before you're 30, if you learn a craft, you learn a trade, you can start your own organization. And by the way, it's recession-proof. It's pandemic-proof. The city of Houston did more construction during the pandemic time when we were all stuck inside. More construction was completed in Houston. In other words, people were still going to work and doing these jobs. So what we're looking to do is remove those barriers and make sure that people understand if you see that as a barrier, it's not there. If you're a woman, you can do construction. If you made a mistake, you can do construction. If you don't have a degree, you can do construction. And most of these jobs start at about $18 to $22 an hour. You can do construction. You don't have to be outside at Whataburger or Chick-fil-A when you graduate. There's good work for you.
Oh, me again. So I also tell people is I also work with lots of people who have a disability. And Matthew, right here, will you stand up, show everybody? This is he did a documentary film about me, and he won how many awards?
A couple.
Internationally, he did in Singapore, India, United States, and every artist have some kind of mental disability, manic depressive, attention disorder, all kinds of. But we don't talk about that. We talk about how to make them become more successful in their career. So I met lots of artists, filmmakers have very healthy life, 24 hours a day. And they don't eat right. So like you guys, my job is let the artists go in the right way to survive, because they need to know how to be healthy living, how to connect with artists, how to connect with their own family and friends, and there's lots of relationship broken up because artists like people don't understand. But everything you see in this room is created by an artist. This carpet, this light, people don't realize how much money we resource got into art. Every single thing you touch is created by an artist. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And people throw art just on the wall. But these gentlemen here, they can tell you, without art, we're not going to survive. We need it every day.
Thank you so much. That's very true. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about impact. I know you guys kind of shared some of the ways that your different nonprofits do make an impact here in the community, especially here in Houston and elsewhere. In some situations, I know that there's like an increased focus on demonstrating return on investment. I think for some of the organizations, how do you quantify impact and demonstrate results for your efforts?
Well, I think for us it's very simple. The number of bodies we're getting into the commercial construction spaces. We've done a great job. C3 has been in Houston for about 10 years now. One of the first things that we did when we got involved with this was we got with the construction companies, right? If I'm going to invite one of you to come to my company and work for me, I need to make sure there's a path for your development. I need to make sure that you understand that you can advance. Maybe you go from a laborer and one day you want to be a foreman. You want to be a superintendent. You want to go in and be a project manager. What we did was we got with these companies to make sure they understand that you have to put training programs in place so they understand the work that you're looking to have them do. That helped bring the owners in because the owners are saying, okay, yeah, we want our buildings done on time. We don't want to be worried about you not having enough people there. So we started there. We got that relationship with the contractors in Houston, Merritt, Vaughn, Turner, any of those that you can think of. But also we work with, just the new mom and pop business that started in commercial construction. Anybody can be involved. And then once they've got those protocols in place, now we can put the bodies in. So we've partnered with organizations like Goodwill, 8 Million Stories, the Prison Entrepreneurship Program, Sarah Jobs for Opportunity. So we've partnered with these organizations, Lone Star College, San Jack College, HISD. Again, I mentioned the HISDs. So when people come out with these skills and they come out, even if it's just a baseline knowledge, they're now prepared to go. But more importantly, these organizations are prepared, to receive them and show them that there's a path to development so that they can stay there. There's a career. So for us, the biggest impact is just getting the bodies in, getting words out. You may know someone who's interested in getting into construction, or you may know someone who's looking for another opportunity based on what they currently do, that they can transfer their skills. We'd love for you to reach out to us, www.c3.org. It's very simple. Our goal is to fill jobs here in the Houston community, and the simplest way we can impact that is by showing the numbers.
Thank you.
So you're looking for metrics? Is that kind of the idea?
I think we talked a lot about impact. Just want to do a quick time check. Okay, Ron. We're getting close to getting closer to our Q&A segment of the discussion. But yeah, if you have anything that maybe you haven't already commented on, just in terms of like how your organization measures impact of your efforts.
Yeah, earlier I had mentioned the functional MRI in relation to stress and pain and aspects of how the brain experiences those things. So again, we have about 85% clinical significant change on brain function, which is what we use is showing those changes to the body. And day-to-day experiences are people just having better rest, better relationships, general improvement in function, numerous things. So that's generally how we look at it.
Thank you.
For us, being an entertainment entity, we have obviously many sponsors. And so we measure ROI, or at least they measure ROI, based on any perceived increase in brand awareness or impressions. More importantly, if there's any uptick in business or service renewal or gain. But for us internally, we have ROI that we embed for our events and where we are as well. And that's really how much of an impact are we really bringing for the community that we're executing our events and activities at. So, there are two different measures, but from those that support us, it's being able to help with the brand awareness, and then once those impressions are up there, they're somewhat satisfying.
very quick note, I want everyone to know, Houston have the largest artist community in the world. We're bigger than Los Angeles, bigger than Beijing, Beijing than New York. So this is a very thriving, I think this is 21st century New York City. We are making a renaissance here. So stay here, have lots of fun.
Wow, that's a great statistic. All right, now, yeah, we're gonna open some questions up, Q&A open to the audience. I don't know if we have a runner for a microphone, but if you have any questions for anyone here on the panel, if you just wanna stand up and speak loudly.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Shamar Hall. I'm an entrepreneur and also a business owner. I have a question regarding to where we are with technology. So if you guys can help me with that, I'll definitely appreciate it. So with technology, as far as like ChatGPT, for example, or just different functions of AI, how do you guys implement that inside of your business and to use it to your best ability as someone in my position as an entrepreneur, trying to figure out how I can use it towards my business as well?
Thank you.
Well, I think AI is a fabulous tool. Obviously, I think everyone reads that with caution that, hey, there's a label here that you need to be, understand what AI does, because, you already have people that are misutilizing the technology. But for us, we haven't fully integrated AI into our entertainment side of it, though many other entertainment entities are using AI. Obviously, you're seeing it every day. You're seeing it on social media and things of that nature. But it's a fabulous tool when used the right way. But we will be incorporating other means of technology as we've had to, really since the pandemic, because the pandemic forced us to do business with a different model, and a part of that involves more technology.
Yeah, well, great question. With healthcare, we're seeing huge advances with speed of diagnosis. That's one of the biggest issues in the medical system is misdiagnosis. So people go down the wrong path for something they don't actually have. So I think AI has been contributing a huge amount of support there. And then with the inter-office work, the unfortunate side effect of that is loss of human jobs, if you will, as most of that technology is taking over the inter-office communication, the doctor-patient communication. And the more that we use it, obviously, the more that it learns about the holistic side of functions of the body. So we're seeing huge changes with that. So it's been really cool to watch.
Yeah, I would say from a business standpoint, one of the ways that we use it in our organization, because we are a small organization, it's helped us with a lot of our policy and procedure. A lot of times those things can be daunting. How do I get a crisis management program going? How do I put things in place to make sure that my team knows what to do in a natural disaster? So we've been able to utilize AI to help us with that. Planning events, planning fundraisers and things like that is a great way. And just in regards to technology in general, how we've used that to impact the contractors and the owners that we work with, there's technology out available now where a lot of the buildings, as they're being built, they can utilize technological features through drones to be able to determine if a certain part of the project has been done properly. They can measure buildings to make sure that things aren't off scope, right? We don't have something, if it's 2 inches off on this side of the building, that's going to affect the entire project. So now technology is being used in that way. Another thing that we've done is we're working with the organizations that we work with to utilize technology for the workers that show up to the job. So now instead of checking in to make sure if you have your OSHA certification, to make sure that you've taken the training, there's technology where they can come in, basically scan their badge, and we know what they have. If you leave work from one company to another, you still take those skills and tools with you, but now technology is being used so that they can house that, so they can just simply provide that to their new employer, and it's cutting down on the time it takes for orientation and to get involved with the company. So I suggest you think about those things and how you move forward in your business and how you can use that to make things not necessarily easier, but more efficient, right? And in a way that's going to help you move forward in what you're doing faster, especially for most entrepreneurs, right? You got to do the back office work. That's where we've seen the biggest impact, helping us there to get through things a lot faster and get back to our core work.
100 years ago, when photography was created, people thought it could replace art. because they can take a picture. People thought the painting gonna go away, and it turned out it's not, right? So the fear of technology is always been there, fear of invention card. And as me as an origami master, my work already involved with aerospace. People use AI to create origami foam, to create a satellite in space. And earthquake design for the world, sustainable, so we have to embrace the technology with art together, so make a better future. And art, lots of times, is creating the future to come. So I have no fear of technology. Any artists that have a question out there, please to study about it, and don't be afraid of it, because it's going to benefit us.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question for the panel?
I do have a question for our panels. No, from construction. From the construction side, with all of the now measurable changes in our environment, and I know LEED certification is a thing that people adopt or not, but have you seen any new changes in the way we construct buildings and other structures?
Yeah, I mean, again, the biggest changes right now are just that use of technology. Understanding that, for example, when a building is created, it starts with technology. It starts with someone sitting at the computer and literally going through the electrical layout, the plumbing layout, all of those things. So what's basically happening now is it's quicker to get a building from concept to breaking ground today than it would have been in the past. The architects can get their ideas out there. They can get with the contractors and put those things together a lot quicker now, and you can see the end product a lot faster than you have in the past. So the biggest changes is just that embracing of technology. Even some of the machines. One of the projects that we're working on right now is it's called a vibratorium, and so basically this is an animal research center, right? But when you think about all the things that goes into a building where you're going to be bringing animals in, manure, right? Healthcare for the animals and things like that. And so now they're able to create the entire space, see the space, and know exactly what they need and where it needs to be before they ever spend $1 to actually do it. So that's the biggest changes that I've seen, is just that embrace of the technology to see the project before you actually build the project. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen.
Okay, so more specific, in California, all new buildings now have to be situated so that they can sustain earthquakes. In Florida, they build them with cinder blocks and all these other things to be able to withstand hurricanes. But now the rest of the world is being impacted by natural disaster. And I'm wondering if in the construction world, are they doing or are they forecasting, because we're more likely to continue these conditions than not. And so I was just wondering if AI or technology, or if anyone is out there saying, hey, we probably need to start constructing new structures.
Well, I can tell you in actuality, one of the projects that we have that's not too far from here, it's called the Ismaili Foundation, and I'll take it away from technology actually, and think about it from a landscape perspective. When you think about the Greens Bayou area, the Allen Parkway area, we have a project right on the corner of Studemont and Allen Parkway. It's directly across the street from the bayou. One of the things that this owner wanted to do was recognize where they were putting it. So one of the things that they've done in their building process is understanding that, hey, we get hurricanes in Houston, we get flooding in Houston. So they literally made sure that all of the landscaping on the property, for one, they wanted to feel like Texas as a whole. So anything you have on the property, once the building is done, they're bringing in foliage, plants, trees, shrubbery that represents all 7 of the zones in Texas, the regions in Texas. But on the side of the building where the water may come up and it may flood, they've literally done the research to put in plants that if the water were to come up and it gets washed away, it'll be okay. They can replant it. So in other words, they're making sure that it still looks like Houston, it still feels like Houston, but it understands that it's in Houston. You're not just going to, they're not going to have to rebuild all over again. The foundation's not going to wash away because they've accounted for those things. So absolutely, construction has been reacting and adjusting to the changes in our environment and the climate that have occurred. And it's not just from a technology standpoint, even from just landscaping.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, really interesting about, that discussion about what's happening, in AI and how it's affecting your different organizations. Are there any other like emerging trends that you guys see kind of happening within your nonprofits, or kind of looking ahead, maybe outside of AI, whether it's increased storytelling or filmmaking?
One of them is about NFT, right? People heard about that. Lots of artists are terrified that think they might be lose their secret life of art. I just want people, I'm not for or against, I just want people to study, because that is a part of future technology to save your art. So probably one day, like hurricane destroy art, but you save it on the computer universe. So you actually can last forever and ever. So artists want their art last forever, and NFT technology may be able to sustain that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, from an emerging trend standpoint of construction, it's really just around the people. Don't think of construction the way that you used to. You fit in construction. Again, I just try to reiterate that because that is something that you're starting to see when you go out to job sites. You see the women on the job site. You see people that have disabilities on the job site. Everything that's happening in the construction space is around understanding that if we want to get the buildings done, we want to get them done properly, we have to train the people, we have to prepare the people, but we have to make sure that they understand that they're wanted in the space. And so that's the biggest trend I can say, is just making sure that we change the face of what construction looks like. It's not a male-dominated thing anymore. It's not a family-dominated, you got to know somebody to get in thing. Anybody can be involved, and that's really opening up opportunities for people to create wealth and to change their surroundings, change the opportunities that they have in the communities they live in.
So I just wanted to follow up on his comment on NFTs. Right? So as an artist, would you personally, how do you feel with regard to NFTs, or just privately held collections, or would you like your art more in public forums so that it's enjoyed by the mass?
Well, to me, art should be shared, okay? And I think everybody have a right to express their own communication to art, use their own language. That's what art really is. To me, that is. Some people want to be very private, like a writer, or the filmmaker want to do more biography, and that depends on each individual artist use the application. Yeah.
But would that be the opinion of more artists than not? They want to have their works shared as opposed to...
I think so. Secretly, artists want the people see their work and accept it and liking it. They want an audience. Even they're quite hide in the corner, but they want to know public opinion about their work. Yeah. Maybe sometimes they're very unhappy about the opinion, but they want to know. They want to know.
Any other questions from the audience?
I have a question for the doctor. Are you getting much pushback, or is there a resistance? Because it seems to me that the medical and insurance community is, as a whole, is still more interested in curing the patient. Okay. How is that playing with what you do?
Like pushback from that system?
From the system.
Yeah.
As I perceive the system.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, we're all kind of having the same experience, I think. But yeah, that's a loaded question, maybe.
Well, let me answer for him. Farmer would prefer sustainability. Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But are people coming around? That is.
Yeah, there's a turn. I think when you look at healthcare, you have like your medical doctors, you have your acupuncturists, chiropractors, naturopathic doctors. Most of the alternative world, if you want to call it that, there's about a 10% following there. And we saw it tick up during the pandemic to about 12%. So we're seeing a movement into alternative modalities as a whole. And I think with the whole biohacking community, you're going to get huge jumps in things like PEMF, cold laser therapy, infrared light therapies, and these kinds of things. We're all kind of hearing these technologies coming out more, and they're more affordable too, right? You can go on Amazon and buy most of this tech for yourself at a couple $100. You know what I mean? So I think there's huge personal self-care agency happening for people, and I think that's going to lead to other choices going forward in the medical community.
What about getting it paid for, though? Are the insurance companies willing to pay for?
No, they don't want to pay for anything, right? The general rule is the longer they have their money, the longer they get interest accruing on that money, so they don't want to pay you for anything. It's a no-brainer. There are kind of like PPO programs, which are more community-based, and I think, a lot of Christian organizations have different, things where you can kind of do like a co-op payment plan. So, we all fund each other's medical needs by pooling our money together that way. And so you're not going through a third-party insurer like the big ones, you know what I mean? So I think the whole system is technically kind of coming down a little bit. Technology is pretty cool. We were talking about NFTs earlier, and I think tokenization is a huge thing because I think that's where that smart contract allocation is going to help create better boundaries. And I think when we have healthier boundaries with our money and with how things are kind of being done and automated, I think we're going to see huge advancements in that. And what's really cool about NFTs is you can actually invest in an artist and you actually can get a return on that investment, a little bit. I think there's percentages of, he sells something for $10 million, you get $100 of that or whatever if you own part of his NFT. So it's like, you're investing in that person, which is really cool. There's a concept of real world assets, which I think is growing pretty, I don't know if anybody follows cryptocurrency right now, but there's a huge surge in that aspect of cryptocurrency happening. I think we're going to see everything tokenized here in a little bit. So I have fun.
All right, we are at time. Kyle, Derek, Dr. Went, and Chase, thank you so much for participating in this inspiring and meaningful conversation.
You'll have a table there.
Yes,
Yes. You'll have a table
Combined
booth back
seats.
there and talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm just walking around.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys being here. Please enjoy the rest of the film festival. Thank you.